This show is brought to you by Nice Mug. Nice Mug is the only mug made entirely out of ice. For more information, go to nicemug.com and enter the coupon code SAUNA for 10% off your entire purchase.
Well, hey everybody, this is Glenn with Sauna Times, and hey, this episode of Sauna Talk is dedicated to you, to you who have a project looming. Something you've been thinking about, something that's been in your head. Maybe you're at your office somewhere or driving somewhere, and I just want you to maybe close your eyes, not if you're driving, but if you're at your office or just sitting there, and just imagine like a project that's been kind of nagging at you. I don't know, maybe it's fixing the fence in the backyard or putting in shelves in your garage, or hey, it could be building a sauna in your own backyard. It doesn't matter. What I want you to do is think about your project. And you can open your eyes now. And what I want to happen for you is to listen to this podcast and then have some clarity about how to tackle this project. Hey, one of the projects I want to encourage you to do is those in northern climates that have a garden hose spigot in their backyard, maybe, is to convert it to a frost-free faucet. It's a great thing to do, and the big box stores sell them, Menards, Home Depot. It's super easy. It's a great little project. So if you don't have a project, if you're not imagining one, I want you to imagine this one, because I'm staring at the spigot coming off my backyard, and I love it because when it's too cold to have the outdoor shower running, it's just super awesome to take a 5-gallon sheetrock bucket, which I often use in the sauna hot room, for cold water and stuff. And you can be it could be 0 degrees in January, and you come out and you're wearing your bathrobe or just a towel or maybe nothing, and you just stick your bucket underneath, turn the water on. It's one of life's simple pleasures, is to be able to access water when it's 0 degrees outside. So let's just run with that project. I will put a link in the show notes here to how to do this. It's a simple little home improvement thing. So back to Terry and Sauna Talk. So this is part of the 218 series. This episode, and this is with Terry DeGroote. And Terry is also joined by Mike Tuttle, and Mike is an amazing guy in his own right. He's certainly and admittedly not handy, so they're great bookends. You got Terry, super handy, and Mike Tuttle, not as handy. But you know what? Mike isn't afraid to tackle stuff either. And this is what it's like living on an island. Both these guys are on Pine Island, where my cabin is. There's a series of about 20 cabins, all connected by a path along this point on this beautiful part of Lake Vermilion, and we all know each other. That's just kind of what it is. There's a little community up there, and Terry is like the kingpin of this community in a way. He knows everybody. He's a career handyman and caretaker. His territory is on the islands of Lake Vermilion and Tower, Minnesota, and Terry was brought to Pine Island in diapers. He had small periods away from Lake Vermilion with his family living in Hawaii for a few years and a career with the Duluth News Tribune down in Duluth. Yet primarily, Terry has spent his whole life on the lake. He has been an invaluable help to many dozens of cabin owners on the lake. His skills as a handyman and builder are infinite. He has had his hands in about 40 to 50 different cabin projects. And in addition to that, he manages about 40 and 50 cabins as caretaker, which includes such tricky annual work as the docks in and out, water systems shut down, opened up, plus the myriad of things that can come up from at a cabin, from like roof leaks to bees nests to, well, you name it. If you have had anything weird go wrong at your home, chances are Terry has encountered exactly this, and many times over. And Terry, just like myself, has built about a dozen saunas himself. And I've learned some tricks from him, and I'd like to think he's learned a few tricks from me as well. We've spent many sauna rounds on the bench discussing building nuances. It's a testament to Terry's passion to the trades, as well as his continued interest in learning and expanding his knowledge base. And one of Terry's favorite lines is, "What one man can do, another can do." It's from the movie The Edge. The movie is about a wealthy businessman played by Anthony Hopkins who, with his son-in-law, played by Alec Baldwin, gets into a harrowing chase down by a grizzly bear after their single-engine airplane has to make an emergency landing in the wilderness. But Terry isn't worried about bears on Pine Island. The expression for him is about not being daunted by problems that come up with projects. And sometimes these projects are overwhelming for the specialists who had initially been called in. After the pros get boated back to the public landing at mainland, shaking their heads no, most often Terry comes in and fixes the problem. I've seen this more than a couple times. One of my lines is, getting the right tools and materials to the job site is half the job. This is hard to dispute for island work, which Terry does most of. Sure, you could argue that cutting the grass is only, say, 30% about having gas in your lawnmower, the blade sharpened, the right shoes on, oil in the engine, all that. But when I'm building like a deck, for example, I know that having all the right tools and materials on site is half the battle. It's actually most of the work, come to think of it. Once everything's there and you have this clear mind to tackling the project, it's actually really fun not to have to chase down materials or go borrow tools or what have you. The third philosophy of tackling projects is something I often see with how Terry operates. Ryan Holiday, in his book The Obstacle is the Way, presents the observation, that which blocks our path creates a new path. Nowhere is this more exemplified than with completing projects. I can't tell you how many times I've hit a stumbling block only to realize that the project was trying to tell me something. There's a better way. Can't find any finish nails? Damn it. Well, I'll glue and screw it. Turns out it was the right thing to do. Hit my thumb with the hammer after a big swear word, turns out grabbing my crowbar was the right tool after all. A screw breaks off trying to undo the fitting for the dishwasher. Well, replacing the entire fitting was the right thing to do because it was going to rust out anyway. Terry lives this kind of thing. He practices a growth mindset. Things are going to fuck up, no question. But what appears to be a problem or a setback usually turns out to be a path to a better solution. This episode with Terry is part of the 2-in-8 series of Sauna Talk. We heard it with Darrell Lampa, who spent countless hours in his garage learning about how wood burns and tinkering with the design of his sauna stove. And with Terry, we see the same type of devotion to his trade, a care and commitment to making something remarkable and making it right. These kind of people impress the heck out of me, and we can all be more like this with our projects in our lives. Lastly, for those tackling their own sauna build or home project, I'd like to introduce you to WIT, W-I-T. You can read about how applying will, information, and time to your project, whatever it may be, will lessen the amount of money you'll need to throw at your project and will certainly maximize your satisfaction with the project. I'll put a link in the show notes, but it's a formula I live by, not just with sauna building, but with so much in life. These three pillars, will, information, and time, they're all out there, especially in this age in the internet. And one of my more enjoyable books was Makers by Chris Anderson, the editor-in-chief of Wired magazine. And, he indirectly talks about this, how information is so accessible this day and age. And it circles back to Anthony Hopkins, what one man can do, another can do. Just Google it. And it's amazing how, you can empower yourself to tackling your own projects. So Terry is one of my top mentors. He saved my ass countless of times at the lake. I try not to bug him as he's always going from one cabin to another, and you see his boat going by, I'm having coffee in the morning and you see the boat go the right way, heading to the right. And then, a little bit later in the day, I'll see the boat heading left, and he's always back and forth going from one cabin to the next, and he works hard every day. When I see him, I'm always happy, and we have a great time, and we sauna a lot together, and he just fixed my dock, and it's a perfect example about tools, right? So he didn't have this high lift jack, so I went to the L&M supply place in Virginia, Minnesota. He told me what tool to get. I got it. I had it ready for him. I had all the resources for him that he needed, and he was doing Project A, and he carved out a little time with his 2 assistants, and I wasn't even home, but I came home, and he fixed my dock. The ice had jammed the base of the dock against the shoreline, and it actually, the power of the ice bent it, and I'll be damned, but Terry fixed it, and that's Terry DeGroote. So without further ado, please welcome to this episode of Sauna Talk, Terry DeGroote. Well, hello everybody. The 2 and 8 series continues. It's 2 and 8 Sauna Talk. It's northern Minnesota, and this is the trio. This is the trilogy, and it's a great one. I'm coming out of my cabin right now. It's overcast. Looks like it may want to rain. It's still summer, late August, and I'm going down to the sauna. And Terry DeGroote just pulled up, and Terry's going to take a sauna. He's got a beer in his hand. He's got his sandals going, swim trunks. I don't see a towel. He probably left it in the boat. That's how organized he is. He knows after round 1 he can grab his towel from down there. But Terry DeGroote, he's a builder. He's a contractor. He knows how to do stuff. He is the go-to guy for dozens of cabins up here. He's built cabins, and he maintains cabins. So welcome to Sauna Talk. Joining us is Mike Tuttle. Hey, Mike, say hey to everybody.
Oh, hello, everybody. Yeah, we're getting ready for a nice sauna here on a nice day on Lake Vermilion.
And Mike, for how many years have you been coming up to 2 and 8? Like, you're a 2 and 8er. You're from Eveleth. How many years have you been coming to Lake Vermilion? Speak loud, please.
I've been coming up since 1954.
Louder.
So 1954.
Right on.
So over 50 years.
And do you remember your first sauna? Loud.
My first sauna.
Real loud.
My first sauna was at a scout camp,
How old were you?
and I was probably about 14 years old before
Right
I
on.
took my first one.
Right on. And so Mike, he lives in Atlanta in the off season. He lives on Pine Island in the on season. And Terry, what's your first memory of Lake Vermilion? How old were you, and what do you remember?
Well, I came up as a child, baby, and
So let's get a little clarification on that. So when you say you came up as a child and as a baby, diapers?
yeah, 9 months old.
Terry, you've been coming up here your whole life, since diapers. And you can answer the question I ask or trade in for a new one. The new one would be, tell us about your first sauna experience, but you pick the question you want to answer.
Well, back in those days, that was all we had was a sauna. So we would once a week or twice a week, if we're lucky, have a sauna, and that was in lieu of a bath or a shower that we might have today. So,
Right on. These were functional bathing experiences,
yeah, absolutely.
and they were enjoyed. I mean, you were like super young. You loved them, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And today's a functional bathing sauna. I mean, there's no need for a shower today, right? You got a sauna going, right?
Absolutely, yep.
What did you do today, Terry?
I worked the last 7 days, so today was kind of a hooky day. I went and measured and did a few things, but nothing hardcore.
Okay, I was kind of expecting, this is a typical Terry answer. If he'll come over to sauna and he'll be like, hey, Terry, what'd you do today? And then it's just like starting up the engine. He's like, well, I met the guys over at Grubin's at 8:30. We had a load come in from the lumber yard. We had to haul that out to Daisy Island. So then I got the guys going there, and then I had to go over to this other island to measure for the roof. Right, Terry? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in your day, this kind of project stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That happens.
Right on. Okay, so we're going to go take a hot room round, and then when we come back, we're going to quiz Terry. And you got a whole sauna round, Terry, to think of this one. But as a builder of many saunas up north, we would like you to give us the top 3 tips or top 3 mistakes from a builder's perspective that you see in sauna construction. So, okay, Mike, say it loud, buddy.
Yes, this is in regards Terry, who's going to be giving you his answer soon. Some people are indefensible. Terry, on the other end, is indispensable. He really comes in handy and is redoing our cabins and making them look better.
Yes, well said, Mike. And Terry, one question is about how many cabins have you your hand in terms of projects? And that number may be a little bit more than my second question is how many cabins do you manage for the property owners? So,
Yeah, about 45 on the managing and probably at least that many or maybe more for projects.
yeah. Right, so there you go. You guys chew on that one. We'll be right back after this sauna round. Well, okay, everybody, we're back. It's the end of round one. Just hanging out on the dock after jumping in the lake. So, Terry, back to sauna building, okay? You've built a bunch. About how many, would you say, or how many have you had your hands on?
Maybe about a dozen.
And these are cabin saunas, electric and wood burning, the whole shebang, right?
Yeah, not very many electric, but a few.
Knowing everything you know about sauna building, what would you advise the listener? What are the top, 2-3 mistakes or top 2 or 3 things you really want to keep a focus on and do correctly with sauna? You're building your sauna.
Well, the height of the ceiling is, most people would try to build like a normal room with 8-foot ceilings, but if you can reduce your ceiling height to 7, you're gonna find it more efficient.
Okay, that's number 1, ceiling height. Number 2?
Well, always try to include a fresh air intake. If you make with modern building materials, we can make these things so airtight that you may have a problem. This helps bring in maybe even if you get your sauna too hot, you can cool it down.
Okay, so a vent would be number 2. Right on. So ceiling height, 7 feet, and then vent your hot room. Okay, number 3?
I would say doing a proper vapor barrier. You're dealing with high humidity, high temperatures, and trying to keep your insulation dry. So use tape on all seams and a good caulk on the bottom to really seal that vapor barrier.
Right on. Hey, have you ever seen tongue and groove paneling installed upside down? You've told me this about 3 times. Go ahead on that one.
Well, people who are handy can think that if they reverse the tongue and groove and start at the ceiling and work their way down, they get a much nicer look, which is true. But your tongue and groove has to be installed properly from the bottom up. And I've seen it a couple of times. What you're doing is you're trapping any moisture. You could probably get away with doing that technique in other rooms, but not a sauna or bathroom with water because it traps water in the groove.
So what you're saying is tongue up, groove down.
That's right.
And a guy could actually start from the top, assuming that it's no fun to do it that way. I mean, you don't want to start tongue up from the ceiling.
Well, you can surface nailing, then you'd have no way to nail into the tongue, so you'd be surface nailing.
Bingo. Well said, Terry. That was great. And I'm going to try to summarize that as a separate post. But you know what, Terry? I think talking about this is sauna talk, man, so we can talk crazy talk. I think you and I have it in us to build a $70,000-$80,000 sauna. What do you think? Would you want to do a project like that? We could collaborate together?
Sure, as long as you're writing the checks.
Okay. Or I get somebody to write the check. Now, this is my feature that I'm thinking about for $80,000, maybe even $100,000 sauna by the time you're done. I mean, we got to make a little coin on the thing, right? I mean, we deserve to get paid. Yeah, so say simple math, $100,000, like a kick-ass sauna that would like to be the sauna of all saunas, right? What I imagine is a stone wall water feature. You got anything that we could help build to help turn into $100,000? What would you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, you'd be. I mean, the most important thing I could think of spending a lot of money on would be the foundation and a lot of concrete and
Radiant heat, of course.
yeah, radiant heat would be a good start.
And we'd have a wonderful screen-in porch, like the chill-out zone. We'd have showers like crazy, right? Multiple. There'd be a whole garden activity happening with cold plunge, be it in the lake or a mountain stream. But we would have a really kick-ass shower experience, wouldn't we?
Right. Yeah, no, I think that would be great.
So we could spend $100,000, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, plumbing would be a good 25 of it, don't you think?
Yeah, I haven't put the pencil to it, but yeah, maybe.
Okay. Well, we're going to go in for another sauna round. Anything you want to share to listeners, Terry, about you and sauna? We talked a bit about building. Anything more come to mind there? I thought we hit the hot topics. You, as a sauna enthusiast, partake in sauna as a functional piece as much as a relaxation piece. But, Terry, you got to admit, if you're up like fixing a roof or installing a roof and you're sore as hell, tell me, isn't a sauna a great way to cap off a physical, hard working day?
Oh yeah, yep. I think one of the benefits I like from a sauna is that it just seems like that day that I have a sauna, I sleep twice as well as I normally do, and it really puts you into a good mood for that, and sleep is a good thing.
Sleep is a great thing. I totally understand what you're saying. As a matter of fact, I had that thought this morning. One of the reasons why I'm so excited we're taking a good 3-round sauna right now is my sleep got off in the last couple of days. There was that storm last night, and I don't even tell you what time I woke up today. I was kind of embarrassed how late it was. But now, if I'm going to get to sleep early tonight, I need this sauna to, like, tuck me into bed. So I totally hear what you're saying, and isn't it a great thing when you wake up after a night's sleep after a sauna and you're shocked at how late it is? I mean, that's a good feeling, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Mike, you want to say anything in parting words to the crew here?
Yeah, I was going to say, in a sauna, I like a window. For one thing, you can look and see who's in there before you go in. Yeah. And when you're in there, you can, of course, look out and hopefully at a lake.
Yeah, well said. And I'm a big fan of the candle window. It's a real spiritually traditional thing where in saunas, built generations ago, there was no electricity. And even many saunas in North America and in Northern Europe, they're built at cabins and stuff, and there's no electricity. And you know what? You don't need electricity with a sauna that's built properly with a candle window. And it's a very simple thing. It's a window between the common space between the hot room and the changing room. And you just stick a candle on the changing room side, and that's all you need in the hot room. It's magical how the soft light just dances across the wood paneling, and you hear the crackle of the fire. And maybe it's, maybe you have a window in your wood-burning sauna. So, but anyway, that's my ramble. Hey, there's water skiers cruising by. So, hey, on behalf of Sauna Times, if we don't get back at you, I just want to thank Terry DeGroote and Mike Tuttle for sitting in on Sauna Talk. This is the 218 series. We're celebrating 218. This is a wonderful month to be in northern Minnesota. We've had a great month, haven't we, Terry?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. That's been wonderful.
Right on.
This show is brought to you by Sun Country Airlines. Sun Country is staffed by cheerful humans, and wherever Sun Country flies, they are competitive and keep the airfare honest. So whether I'm checking out Temescal in Tulum or the Archimedes Banya in San Francisco, Sun Country Airlines is the first and last place I go for decent air travel.
So Terry, if you could bring a mobile sauna anywhere in the world, where would you like to bring it and take a sauna?
I'll have to think about it.
Should we come back to that one?
Sure.
Okay, if you could take a sauna with anybody in the world, dead or alive, who would you choose?
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to. You should give you got to give me these questions in advance.
All right. Okay. This is okay. So now the mind's going on a couple of these. We're going to come back to them. And then the third one is what one thing about sauna do you think is misunderstood, like that people get wrong? You know, just the average person when they hear the word sauna, what do you think is most misunderstood?
Well, I don't know. The ones that misunderstand are, probably never had a sauna before, and they just think it's, like you're baking yourself, like they're cooking their turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right. That is a common one. Like, oh, I can't imagine going to sit in one of those hot rooms. That's crazy. All right, so anywhere in the world. Now, Terry, you've lived in Iran. You've lived in Hawaii. You're from northern Minnesota. Your parents are in Colorado. You're, I would say, a pretty well-traveled guy. So you can imagine, and you know northern Minnesota like you do. So where would you like to bring this mobile sauna, Terry?
Well, I guess if, on a camping trip up into the BWC, I mean, this is unrealistic, but I mean, if you had it someplace, on Trout Lake and you're spending a week up there camping and then had a sauna, I mean, that's a fantasy, I guess.
Mike is giving 2 thumbs up to that. Mike, you've been up in the Boundary Waters countless times. Have there been times after a paddle or maybe it rained or wherever that you wish you had a sauna at the campsite?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, after every canoe trip that I guided, what we looked forward to was a sauna. And I was just thinking, if I could bring a sauna anywhere, maybe bring a sauna with a meeting of all the heads of state to put them in a good mood.
Wow, that's pretty. To bring peace to the world. That's neat. I know Khrushchev and the Finnish prime minister at the time, I'm going to dig out a photo of this, but they would convene in the sauna in much to that spirit. So Terry, the other question then, we talked about like where you'd like to bring it, and I love the answer. I love that Boundary Waters thing. Sure, it's unrealistic, but there's been some chatter about a pontoon sauna, and do you know Chuck over there at Vermilion Houseboats?
I've met him a couple of times. But
I left my card for him, and I know he's a busy guy and stuff, but I think that a company like that, if they could outfit one of their houseboats, like that's gutted or whatever, and make a kick-ass sauna on that chassis, and people could rent it. If you had like family reunion, like right now, the Maine's down the path. They have 3 children up, and his son and his son's wife are up. It could be an experience,
No, actually, out of all the crazy ideas you have, that would probably be one of the best ones I've heard so far.
Well, we could serve nice mugs on this, right?
Right. No, I think that's a great idea. That would be, it probably wouldn't be a terrible high expense investment. And people would it would probably catch on.
Yeah, it would catch on, and it would be great in that you could, pull this right up to your dock, so it's an extension of the party space that you're having. Family reunion, maybe when the New York Rangers win the Stanley Cup and Stephen Fogarty's up here with all the hockey guys. I mean, they would if that was a Stanley Cup visitation for Stephen Fogarty, and he brought a bunch of his players up there, and they went and played golf at the Wilderness, came back. And I had a kick-ass sauna going on the pontoon right on the dock. Be a memorable experience for those guys because a lot of those Canadians, the NHLers, Europeans, Canadians, sauna is a very comfortable thing. Hockey and sauna, I'd say out of all the sports, are most connected. You agree?
Oh, yeah. Yep, I do. I agree. So, I like the idea. I might even invest in that one.
Well, let's get it going. Here comes our CFO, Mike Tuttle. It's all about operations, and you would have to get Vermilion Houseboats to manage it, or maybe write docs. I mean, those kids may be looking for something to do in the summertime. And Mike, you met those kids. Did you talk sauna with those guys when they delivered your boat lift?
Yeah. In fact, I said I was coming down for a sauna, and they thought that was wonderful. Right. We got right on the same page there. Yeah. I was thinking, along with hockey players, curlers probably like sauna too.
And I know they like nice mugs. We sell a lot of them. Yeah. Those, can you imagine like curling on ice and then you're done and you grab some nice mugs and you're drinking out of ice? And then take a sauna. That's good. All right. Well, anyhow, so this is the 2-in-8 series. Any final words, Terry? Did we get to your questions? Pretty good.
I think we did.
Okay. Well, thanks again, and Mike Tuttle, thank you for your time. And it's sauna time.